When life changes the direction of your path, change the way you walk, life has a way of surprising you. One moment, you're walking smooth, straight, confident. You know where you're headed. The plan is tight. The map is laid out. Then, without warning, bam, life says, we're not going that way anymore. And there you stand at the crossroads, shocked, confused, asking why. You see, life will always throw detours. That's its job. Detours, delays, disappointments. You thought the door was opening, it slammed. You thought you were going up, you fell down. But listen to me closely. Sometimes the detour is the destination. You didn't get lost, you just got redirected. And when life changes the direction of your path, you gotta change the way you walk. You can't stroll through storms the same way you walk through sunshine. You can't tiptoe through trials, no. When the ground gets rocky, you plant your feet deeper. You straighten your back, you square your shoulders, you walk like you belong even if you're not sure where you're headed. You don't need to know every turn, you need to take the next step. Life's detours are divine redirections. That's not just a comforting phrase to get you through hard times, it's a truth, deep and powerful, that can reshape the way you see every twist and turn in your journey. You see, life was never meant to be a straight line from where you are to where you want to go. If it were that easy, if the path were always clear and smooth, there wouldn't be any growth in the process. There wouldn't be any strength developed along the way. There wouldn't be any stories to tell about how you made it through. Life isn't about getting from point A to point B as fast as possible. It's about becoming the person who's strong enough, wise enough, and ready enough to handle what's waiting for you when you finally get there. We've all had plans, dreams. We draw our maps. We make our schedules. We say, by this time next year, I'll be there. We think we know the path. We think we've got it all figured out. But life steps in. Sometimes it pushes us left when we wanted to go right. Sometimes it tells us to stop when we were ready to run. Sometimes it throws obstacles in our way and we get frustrated, disappointed, even angry. We ask ourselves, why is this happening? Why now? Why me? But here's what I've learned. Those moments, those unexpected turns, those closed doors, they are not accidents. They are not punishments. They are not failures. They are redirections. They are course corrections from a higher place, from a greater wisdom, from a deeper love that knows things we don't yet understand. What we call a setback is often just a setup for something we couldn't have imagined. What feels like the end of the road is usually just a bend we couldn't see coming. Think about it. How many times have you looked back on something that didn't work out and realized later it was the best thing that ever happened to you? Maybe you lost a job and thought your world was falling apart, only to find out that loss pushed you toward an opportunity you never would have seen otherwise. Maybe a relationship ended and it broke your heart, but it freed you to become the person you were always meant to be. Maybe you didn't get accepted, didn't get chosen, didn't get the yes you prayed for, but you ended up standing in a place so much bigger, so much better, so much richer than anything you ever planned for yourself. That's the beauty of life's detours. They are divine redirections. You weren't being denied, you were being redirected. You weren't being abandoned, you were being guided. The rejection wasn't there to stop you, it was there to move you, to shift you, to grow you, to prepare you for something more. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. When you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel like redirection. It feels like rejection. It feels like failure. It feels like confusion. But that's when you need to remind yourself of the truth. Life's detours have a destination. You may not see it yet, but it's there. The job you didn't get, the person who walked away, the dream that didn't come through in the way you thought it would. None of that was random. It was all part of a bigger picture, a larger plan. You don't need to understand it right now. You just need to trust that there is purpose in the path. And sometimes the detour is exactly what makes you who you are. The struggle, the fight, the climb, it builds your strength. It deepens your faith. It teaches you things that comfort never could. If you only walked the easy road, you'd never know how to stand when the ground shakes beneath you. If you only won every battle, you'd never understand what real courage looks like. It's in the detour that you find out what you're made of. It's in the detour that you find out who you can become. So when life changes direction on you, when the door closes or the road shifts, don't freeze. Don't give up. Don't get bitter. Instead, ask yourself, what is this detour trying to teach me? Where is it trying to take me? Look for the lessons, look for the growth, and trust that this isn't a punishment, it's preparation. Trust that the destination hasn't changed. The way you're getting there has. You are not lost. You're not off track. You are on a divine detour. And one day you'll look back and realize that the long way wasn't the wrong way. It was the way that made you ready. It was the way that gave you wisdom, compassion, patience, and strength. It was the way that led you to something greater than you ever dreamed. Every detour has a destination. And if you keep walking, if you keep believing, if you keep trusting the process, you will get there. Not just any kind of there, but the kind of there that makes you say, I'm glad I didn't give up when I wanted to. I'm glad I trusted when I didn't understand. I'm glad I changed the way I walked when life changed my direction. Because that's when you'll know the detour was always divine. Your attitude determines your altitude. It's a simple truth, but it's one that carries the weight of your entire journey. You may not always be able to control what happens to you, where life takes you, or how hard the winds blow against you. Life has its own rhythm, and sometimes it's unpredictable. One day, everything is falling into place. The next, the ground shifts under your feet. But no matter where life pushes you, no matter how unpredictable the path becomes, there is one thing you always control: how you move, how you respond, how you carry yourself through it all. And that's what makes all the difference. Because it's your attitude, not your circumstances, that will decide how far you go. You see, life doesn't promise you perfect conditions. It doesn't promise you easy roads or calm skies. In fact, some of the greatest people you'll ever meet, the ones who stand tall in life, they didn't get there because everything was handed to them. They didn't arrive at the top because life was smooth and fair. They got there because they chose to walk differently. They chose to keep their heads high when life tried to bow them low. They chose to move with faith and determination when fear was whispering in their ear. They chose to step forward when everything around them told them to stand still. That's what attitude is about. It's not just a mood. It's not just a smile on your face when you feel like crying. It's the decision deep in your soul to stand tall and walk with purpose, even on uncertain ground. Attitude is what fuels your steps when the road makes no sense. It's what gives you courage when you can't see the finish line. It's what pushes you to keep moving, to keep climbing, even when the mountain feels too steep. You can't control the direction life pushes you, but you can control how you move. And when you decide to move with strength, with grace, with purpose, you lift yourself above the storm. You rise above the chaos. You reach altitudes you never thought possible. It's not about pretending things are easy. It's about choosing to stay strong when they're hard. It's about walking like you believe in yourself when the world tells you not to. Sometimes life will knock you down hard. It will throw things at you that you didn't expect, didn't ask for, didn't deserve. You can't stop that from happening, but you can decide whether you stay down or stand back up. You can choose whether you give up or rise up. That's attitude. It's the silent force inside you that says, I'm not done yet. It's the fire that refuses to go out, even in the rain. Your altitude, how high you go, how far you rise, is determined by that force. Not by luck, not by privilege, not by chance, but by your choice. And that choice starts with how you see yourself. You can't walk with purpose if you don't believe you have one. You can't stand tall if you think you're small. So you have to remind yourself every single day who you are. You have to remind yourself that you are worthy, that you are capable, that you were built for more than just surviving. You were built to soar. But to soar, you need the right attitude, the attitude that says, I may not know where this path leads, but I trust that I'll get there. The attitude that says, This is hard, but I'm harder. The attitude that says, I've been pushed, but I'm still standing. I've been bent, but I'm not broken. And when you carry that attitude, you start to change the way you walk. You stop dragging your feet. You stop looking down. You lift your head. You square your shoulders. You take each step like you mean it, like you're heading somewhere that matters. Because you are. Walking with purpose doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you trust yourself enough to keep moving without them. It means you move forward with faith when certainty isn't part of the equation. And here's the thing, when you move like that, people notice. Doors open. Opportunities find you. Not because everything is easy, but because you show up ready. Because you carry yourself like you belong in the room. Because you walk like you've already won, even when you're still fighting the battle. Your attitude sets the tone for your life. It's like the wind beneath your wings. Without it, you stay grounded, stuck in fear and doubt. But with it, you can rise higher than your circumstances. You can fly beyond your limitations. You can reach altitudes you never thought you were capable of. And the higher you go, the more you see, the bigger your world becomes, the greater your impact. So when life pushes you in a direction you didn't plan, don't focus on the push, focus on your walk. Change the way you move. Move like you belong. Move like you're ready. Move like you're destined for more, because you are. And when you walk that way, when you stand tall in the face of uncertainty, your attitude will take you higher than you ever imagined. Your attitude determines your altitude. So choose to rise every single day. Failure is not the end, it's the beginning of a new chapter. It might feel like the final page when it happens. It might seem like the curtain has closed and the show is over. You fall, you lose, you miss the mark. Something you worked for slips through your fingers. You're left standing there asking yourself, what now? But I'll tell you something powerful. Failure isn't the end of your story. It's just the end of a chapter. And every ending is a chance to start a new one, to write something different, something better, something stronger. The world has a funny way of making us believe that failure defines us, that if we didn't make it the first time, it's over, that if we got rejected, we don't belong, that if we lost the opportunity, we're not worthy of the next one. But that's a lie. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you, it shapes you. It teaches you things success never could. Success feels good, but failure makes you grow. Failure opens your eyes to what you couldn't see before. It gives you lessons that sharpen you. It makes you better. If you're willing to learn, failure becomes a gift. Closed doors and failed attempts are not dead ends. They're instructions. They're signs. They tell you where you need to adjust. They tell you where you need to evolve. They push you to walk differently, to think differently, to be different. Failure forces you to face yourself in a way nothing else can. It makes you ask the hard questions. It makes you look in the mirror and say, all right, what do I need to do different? How can I grow from this? And that's where real transformation begins. The truth is, nobody makes it without failing. Nobody gets through life undefeated. The people you admire, the ones who've climbed the highest, they've all stumbled. They've all hit walls. They've all fallen down more times than you can count. But they got back up, they turned the page, they started the next chapter. And you can too. Sometimes failure is the best thing that can happen to you, because sometimes success at the wrong time or in the wrong way can destroy you. Failure humbles you, it grounds you, it makes you pay attention, it makes you work harder, it makes you wiser. And when you finally reach that success you've been chasing, you're ready for it. You've been prepared by the process. You've earned the strength to carry it. Think about this. A closed door doesn't mean the room behind it was meant for you. It might not be your room. It might not be the place where you're supposed to grow. Sometimes life closes doors because what's on the other side is too small for your purpose. You were made for something bigger, and that door can't hold you. Failure slams it shut, not to stop you, but to move you, to reroute you, to show you there's a better door, a better opportunity, a better version of yourself waiting down the road. But you have to keep walking to find it. You have to trust that failure isn't the final word. You have to believe that you are not your mistakes. You are not your defeat. You are not your losses. You are the person who rises. You are the person who learns. You are the person who keeps going even when it's hard, even when it hurts. And I'll tell you something else. Failure introduces you to your real strength. Anybody can keep going when things are good. Anybody can smile when life says yes. But when life says no, when the door slams, when the plan falls apart, that's when you find out who you are. That's when you discover the fire in your soul. That's when you choose to stand up and write the next chapter of your life instead of letting failure write it for you. The beautiful thing about life is that as long as you're breathing, you get to keep writing. You get to turn the page. You get to say, this isn't how my story ends. You can start again. You can rebuild. You can come back stronger. Some of the greatest comebacks are born from the biggest failures. Some of the most beautiful stories start in the darkest places. Failure is not your enemy. It's a teacher. It's a guide. It shows you what doesn't work so you can find out what does. It clears the path for something better. But you have to be willing to see it that way. You have to be willing to change the way you walk after you fall. Not dragging your feet in defeat, but stepping forward with wisdom, with strength, with new purpose. You're not the only one who has failed. You won't be the last. But you can decide what you do next. You can choose to let it break you or build you. You can choose to let it be the end of the road or the start of something new. You have that power. Failure is not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one where you're wiser, one where you're stronger, one where you rise higher than before. And when you look back, you'll realize that what felt like the worst moment was actually the turning point. It was the place where everything changed for the better. So don't fear failure. Embrace it. Learn from it. Let it fuel you and write the next chapter of your life with courage, with hope, and with the unshakable belief that the best is still ahead. And if you stumble, good. That means you're still moving. If you fall forward. At least you're gaining ground. Let me tell you something. Failure isn't final. A closed door is a signal, not a sentence. Sometimes God closes a door because what's behind it isn't big enough for you. Sometimes the path you thought was perfect can't hold the weight of your destiny. So don't you dare stand still. Don't you dare shrink, because life flipped the script. Adjust your stride. Change your pace. Walk different. Walk stronger. Walk smarter. Now, how do you do that? With faith and discipline. Faith lets you see the finish line when the road is dark. Discipline keeps your legs moving when you're tired, when you're doubting, when nobody's clapping for you. And on those days when the world feels heavy, when your knees are shaking, when your heart is worn out, you keep walking anyway. Because your legacy isn't written in the easy times. It's written in how you walk the hard roads. People will remember how you handled the detour. Did you give up or did you step up? Change the way you walk with purpose, with courage, with integrity. And when you do, the new path may just lead to a place better than you ever dreamed. So walk on. Even if you're scared, walk on. Even if you don't know where it ends, walk on. Because sometimes it's not about where you're going, it's about who you become along the way.